Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Kerkau Cody, and we're keeping it geekly with our new guest, Cam Kerkau. We're here to break down Gilgamesh Eternal Issues 1 and 2 and everything in between. Cam, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really great. Thanks for asking. How are you doing?
Yeah. I'm not doing too bad. Woke up, rolled out of bed, had a chance to read this issue the first time we've interviewed, but reading it the second time is just chef kiss. I love it. And I'm so interested in diving in to the world's first story, Reimagined. But before we do that, let's begin with a little bit of who you are and how you got into creating comics.
Yeah, sure. I am Cam Kerkau. I got into making comics when, really, I've been making comics my whole life, but the first thing that I ever saw print was this little anthology short I did for a community of comic creators in Michigan called the Michigan's Comics Collective. They were putting out a submission for horror shorts for an anthology that they were going to publish, like in 2014 or so. And so I submitted to that and got in. Michigan Comics Collective was eventually kind of folded into Source Point Press, who was based in Detroit at the time. Now they're based in Saginaw. And long story short, I got to know those guys really well over the years, and eventually, coming out of college, when I was looking to start a career, I went right to them to beg for an internship, which they were nice enough to give me, and that internship kind of led to a full editing role. And so I've been editing comics for the past 2, 3, 4 years, and writing comics my whole life, and yeah.
I always hear about the comic scene in Michigan, and I'm so jealous. I live in Ohio, so next door neighbors. My mom lives up in the UP, so Mass City, and it's like, man, I need to make that 11-hour drive so I could swing by and check out some of these comic communities.
Yeah, it's a fun time around here. We got a really cool, every shop seems to build up its own community, and in Michigan we have these great shops called Vault at Midnight, which are always really cool. You should definitely stop in there if you ever find your way through Detroit or Ann Arbor.
No, last time I was in Detroit, I think was for a Him and Finch concert. Finch. It's been so long. It was like back in the emo days, man. It's been such a long time. I definitely got to make my way back there. So some of your early starts, your publications were, you said anthologies. How was that experience for you? And then I'm also curious, when you took on that editor role at Source Point Press, did that kind of bleed into, I guess, you like becoming a better writer at the end of it, right? Because like you're looking for imperfections in writing to make them better.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think that obviously for somebody who's writing comics, it's really important to read a lot of comics and books as well. I think that's kind of understated. I feel like comic book writers should read more books.
Yeah.
So, and maybe more than reading comics, what you can learn from is reading comic scripts. It's really, really informative to interrogate that empty space between the script page and the comic page, and how this turns into that, and what on the script worked in the final product and what didn't. You could learn a lot just staring at those all day, and just being a part of the process. Yeah, you learn a lot.
So did you work on any comics yourself, like that, of your own projects while you were at Source Point Press, or was it all just doing editing?
Mostly editing. Yeah, for as far as Source Point Press books go, I was just a editor on most of the projects. Those projects are books like Noah, Not Otherwise Authorized by Mikhail Berkvist, In His Own Image by Gabriel Shivani. Right now I'm working on Nightwalkers with Cullen Bunn.
Wow.
That's been really fun. Yeah.
Wow. How's that feel? I mean, that has to be such an awesome experience.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun. I just got done talking about how much you can learn from reading scripts. You can learn a lot from reading somebody like Cullen's script.
Yeah. So, is Gilgamesh like your first venture into creating your own project, like outside of like your editorial experience?
Gilgamesh is my first self-publishing venture, I suppose. That wasn't part of an anthology. or a web comic. I experimented a lot with web comics and you know, digital shorts that were just shared on like social media and that kind of a thing, and pitches that never went anywhere when I was quite a bit younger. Gilgamesh Eternal is my first venture into you know, self-publishing, doing it myself, and probably my first, what you could call like a traditional format kind of comic, you know, standard page lengths, 3-issue miniseries thing.
So what led to you like picking up the world's first story and redoing it in your own style? Like what was like some of the inspiration that drove you to that?
Yeah, you know, I felt like everybody knew who Gilgamesh was, but people weren't really familiar with his story the way that they were with other myths and Greek gods and everything. And I'm always interested in like the kind of cultural icons that we carry throughout humanity. And so the fact that Gilgamesh, you know, kind of remained untouched for so long by comics, you know, he pops up and he appears in different forms and everything, but he hasn't really had his own chance to shine, I don't think, in kind of populist comics telling that wasn't like strictly academic, I think.
Like what goes into this though? I mean, do you add your own flair to it? Like how do you take something that is so old and make it relevant in today's standards?
The interesting thing about the Epic of Gilgamesh is, despite the fact that it's so old, it has a pretty clear theme and character development. Gilgamesh's path throughout the story is, I mean, it's kind of pretty cut and dry. The old, you know, what do you call it? The hero's journey. So it adapts really well into something like this. The only thing is that there is a lot of empty space. There's a lot of connective tissue that isn't there. There's a lot of confused character motivations and subplots, especially because Mesopotamian myth isn't really as like cohesive as something like Greek myth.
Yeah.
You know, different cults spread out across the area had their own kind of version of events, and it was never really consolidated into one telling. So, you know, looking at Mesopotamian mythology as a whole, I mean, first of all, I had to make the conscious decision that the Epic of Gilgamesh was going to be kind of the Bible for this adaptation, and that other aspects of the mythology would have to be used sparingly in order to keep it all cohesive. But I think that's a really rambly way to say that there is the creation of the creative part of the adaptation is mostly in the connective tissue that isn't there in the myth. So you're going to see a lot more of characters like Shamhat, and their motivations and what's happening to them while Gilgamesh is having this personal crisis off in the wilderness.
So was there ever like any feelings of like uneasiness taking this on, like uneasiness that maybe you were going to do it in injustice, or any feelings of that nature?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And, you know, I think maybe at the beginning there was a little bit of naivety that, like, you know, that it is granted that this is my creative interpretation of the myth, and so that you know, people would kind of give you the benefit of the doubt, but as you know, time goes on and people read it, and I mean, I've really only kind of had positive feedback from people who, you know the myth, but yeah, it, you know, eventually it just sort of dawns on you the weight of what you're taking on, and it's I don't want to say that it's kind of like your eyes are bigger than your stomach kind of situation, but it is a little bit like that. Yeah.
I mean, I would say you are killing it, you and the creative team. So speaking of that, can we give a shout out to everyone who is involved on this project? I mean, these interiors are just gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah, so the creative team it's just me, Kostas Pantoulas, doing the art, and Mira Immortal doing the lettering. And yeah, I think that Kostas and Mira have really done a lot to make this book look very, very specific and unique, and uniquely theirs visually.
So, I mean, as your first like self-published like title, how has this process been for you working with that creative team? Like, what does the script process look like, for instance, when you're passing it off to your artist?
Yeah, so I will usually do 2, 3, 4 drafts of a script. And then once the art comes back, I'll do a 4th or 5th draft for the letter, just adjusting the dialogue to fit the pages better, to fit the actual like art that we get better. I do 3 or 4 drafts of a script. I send it to Kostas, and then Kostas, he might look at it for a second, but mostly he just kind of tosses it to the side and calls me on the phone and says, "Okay, let's talk through this page." And I love that, because so what you get is every single page of the comic is the result of a conversation. Every single page is creative, a creative collaborative session of 2 people figuring something out in a really push and pull kind of motion. And it I think that it's really worked out for us. I love the way that the pages turn out.
I like the phone call idea. I know a lot of back and forth, stuff can get lost in, translation and context and interpretation. So I'm sure like hashing it out over a phone call is the easiest way to do it. And I mean, so do you find yourself like letting him have the wheel, kind of like doing his own like creative flair, or do you kind of want him to follow more of what you envision for the panels?
I think mostly, I joke earlier about him tossing the script to the side, but we do have the script by us when we're having these conversations. And I think that mostly what it comes down to is the first step is breaking down what needs to happen to push the story forward, what's going to come back later, what's not going to make sense now, but will once, you've read the whole story. And then once that is known, then we've kind of set our parameters for how far we can push the art, and how far off of the script we can go in order to deliver something that is going to like give the reader, a reaction when they're looking at the page. Because that's the goal is to give the reader something to chew on, and kind of get them maybe a little uncomfortable and whatnot. But yeah, so we'll talk through these pages, and usually Kostas is doing a sketch of the page as we talk, and so that's really helpful, because we'll share the screens and I can see exactly how he is
designing it.
How he's designing it. The composition, I can see exactly where he's going with the composition in real time, and I can kind of direct a little bit in okay, this angle, maybe because you're doing this in panel 1 and this in panel 3, maybe we can try a different angle in panel 2 that will flow with the composition a little bit better. I'm just spitballing, but yeah, it's a real back and forth collaborative conversation, and it's a lot of fun every time.
Well, I think doing it in that way gives you, the best result, right? Because you're able to get your vision in there, and your artist is able to do what he wants to do, and really exploit that, really like take that and run with it as hard as possible. And the result is gorgeous too. I mean, holy crap. So you said this is there's 3 issues in total?
Yep. It's going to conclude with the 3rd issue.
So can you give us a small idea of what is happening in the first 2 issues? Like, what are we looking at without spoiling too much?
Okay, without spoiling too much. Well, I think coming into it, what readers should know, picking up the first issue, is that this is a story about somebody dealing with his own mortality. Somebody who thought he was invincible, and then finds out through tragedy that he is not invincible. And And I guess you can say that's what the first issue is about, through a couple of really crazy out there bombastic action sequences. We end with our hero having experienced tragedy, and it's a tragedy that kind of shakes up his own his whole view of himself and who he is and what his destiny is. And so in the second issue, that's where we find him, and we find him totally rejecting his destiny, his natural course of events. He's he's a king. He was born into his kinghood. He's always been told that he's part god, and so that kind of gives him expectations about himself and the things that he should be able to do. And when that is challenged, he's very childish about it. He kind of makes it everybody else's problem. He leaves a bunch of messes for everybody else to clean up. And so in the second issue, we find him wrestling with his destiny, and everybody else how his moral dilemma kind of screws up everybody else's lives.
Yeah, and it's that resonates so strong, like, because as human, like human nature, we all feel like we're invincible, right? We all feel like nothing can touch us. We're on top of the world until a rude awakening happens. And I think that's that is such an awesome way to kind of script that for Gilgamesh to kind of go through the same experience. So right now would be a perfect segue. Let's go ahead and switch over to the campaign showcase and check out this Zoop campaign. We are looking at Gilgamesh Eternal issue 1 and 2, currently at $3,566 of a $3,000 goal. Holy crap, congratulations on funding, man. 97 backers with 12 days left to go. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling that 97 number. It's making me a little bit anxious. I'm really hoping to get 3 more supporters at least.
So let's make sure we get let's make sure we get that today. Right there is the link in chat, guys. Be sure to back this if you are unable to back. Putting this on Facebook and Twitter is 100% free. Word of mouth helps get this project out as far as possible. I'm sure you're gonna have a family member or a friend who's gonna love this. So let's go ahead and check out some of these tiers. I mean, we got issue 2, $6, digital copy, outstanding price. How many pages?
28, I believe.
20, yeah, that's
26 to 28.
Yeah, awesome price for that. And then we have issue 1 and 2 digital bundle. So $9, $3 more you get issue 1 as well. $16 is going to get you the digital bundle plus the digital comics bundle. So what's all included in this bundle?
We have more than 400 pages of digital comics. These are comics from people who were just nice enough to contribute. The indie comics community can be we can be such a boon for each other, and that's really what's going on here. Is I just kind of put a call out for people who would be willing to include their comics in our bundle, just to sweeten the deal for indie comics fans.
No, that is awesome. We have issue 2, cover A for $10, and then we have cover B for $12, and then cover C for $12 as well. And that's done by our good friend Dennis as well. When I seen this cover, I was so taken back. Absolutely gorgeous. They're all gorgeous, but like knowing Dennis, like kind of personally, like having talked to him before, like it just like hits a little differently, Yeah,
I was blown away as well when I saw this. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I felt so grateful that I was able to work with Dennis on this cover, because it's it's something that I kind of want to blow it up and put it on my wall. It's so gorgeous. Like it could be in exhibits,
Like cover A reminds me of like a death metal, like deathcore, like type of album cover, like Rings of Saturn type feel, and then the other one's like so dreamlike. It's just like I love how they both feel. And if you guys are on the fence, you want to get all 3, you can get all 3 for the outstanding price of $30 and save yourself $4. So an awesome price on that. Issues 1 through 2 for $18, and then get everything for $40. So are these going to be like all the covers, or what's all included in this?
Yeah, I think it's 1 copy of each cover plus all of the fun digital stuff that we mentioned earlier, including the indie comics digital bundle.
Yeah, it's one hell of a bang for your buck right there, guys. We have issue 1 cover A for $10. You also get the new printing for $10 as well, and then cover B for $12, and then some retail bundles there. Now, the other interesting tiers, we have Cam offering a script edit for $50. So what's all going to be included within this edit?
Yeah, so for $50, I will read your standard length comic script and I will edit it. I think that probably the best way to do it is to have a phone call with you where we can really hash out your goals for that issue. And if it's part of a series, then for the series overall. And then I'm going to use, all of the editing experience that I have working with guys like Cullen Bunn at Source Point Press to really nail down that issue for you and make sure that it is accomplishing what you want it to accomplish.
And that's one hell of a price too. $50 is outstanding. It's always worth to get an extra eyes on your script. I've never written a script myself, but having talking to tons of creators, you get in that mindset where it just reads perfect, and you don't really realize the errors in your writing, or maybe it's not reading the right way. So getting that second pair of eyes on it is essential. We also have a postcard sketch too. So what's going to be included in this sketch? Is this going to be something that your artist wants to do, or something that the backer is able to kind of dictate? Like what's included in this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a commission. You get to choose what you want it to be. It's going to be postcard size, and you can offer up a reference image if you'd like. And yeah, you're going to be able to hash that out with Kostas and get some original Kostas art.
Yeah, original art for $50 is a steal without a doubt. And then we also have original art, issue 1, page 1 for $150. So did your artist do a lot of this like traditionally?
It's all traditional. The
Oh,
whole
wow.
series is traditional.
Wow.
Yep, every single page.
And then unavailable. So I knew this cover right here was going to go as soon, like I seen your Zoop campaign a few, I want to say a week or two ago. And I seen that was up there. I was like, $200 is like a bang for that. Oh my God. And then some original pages right here too. So holy crap, guys, right here is the campaign in its entirety. Be sure to check out that link and back it. If you're unable to back, put this wherever you can. Word of mouth is 100% free. Now, after going through the campaign and checking out all these awesome tiers and everything in between, Kim, for anyone who might be on the fence about backing, what would you like to say to them directly to kind of help push them over that fence?
I'd like to say, please. I would say that, you're not going to regret it. It's worth it. The art is worth the price of admission alone. And, if you like those covers, you're going to like what's inside. And there's a lot more where those covers came from.
Oh yeah, and as someone who's read an advanced reader copy of issue 1, it is outstanding, and issue 2 is going to probably hit just as hard, if not harder. And man, issue 3 sounds like it's going to be just the cream of the crop. I can't wait to see how this miniseries concludes. Speaking of that, what is next for you in 2023? Do you have any other projects that you're working on?
Yeah, I am still doing a lot of editing on books that I can't really mention right now. We have more Nightwalkers coming, of course. I think we're on the 3rd or 4th issue in the shops now. So, you should definitely go out and pre-order that if you can. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get to the 3rd issue this year as well of Gilgamesh.
Dude, that is so awesome. So where's the best place for people to pre-order Nightwalkers? Like a local comic store or anywhere in particular?
For sure. All
right, let's go. So before we let you go, Cam, I always got to ask for a little bit of advice for anyone who might be new and listening, or even seasoned. And with you being someone who has editor experiences, let's take advantage of that. So let's ask something that's going to be centered around that. For anyone who is preparing to send their script to an editor for the first time, what can they do to make sure that is like a smooth interaction? Like, what can they do to help prepare it the best they can for their editor?
Well, I think that you should probably be aware of the scope of your series before you send it. And I feel like it gets said all of the time. I feel like people are constantly harping on about, you can't have your 300-page masterpiece be the thing that breaks you into the industry. But still, looking at a lot of the pitches that we get at SourcePoint, still people were trying to pitch, 30-issue series, 12-issue series. And I think that if you're just trying to break in, do a one-shot, do some anthologies, and then start pitching one-shots. One-shots are probably the easiest way. It's much easier to convince a publisher to take a chance on a one-shot than it is to do like even a 6-issue series, for instance.
No, that is some awesome and sound advice as well. And I think it really shows your capability, right? Like if you can finish a one shot, if you could finish, a few pages within an anthology yourself, like that shows you're able to do your 6-issue miniseries. You really can't show that you're able to do that if you don't have those 6 issues available.
Right.
So yeah, awesome advice there. Cam, thank you so much for swinging by. Everyone watching, there is the link for the last time. Be sure to check it out and share it if you can. This has been such an awesome chat. Cam, I appreciate you swinging by. Everyone watching, I hope you all have a lovely Saturday evening, afternoon. Most importantly, keep it geekly.